Hey everybody, welcome back to Life Between Weights. I'm Serena, your host. I'm sitting here with Erica today. So Erica, will you please introduce yourself?
So my name is Erica. I am a long distance runner that CrossFits. I am kind of an anomaly in that best sense. Usually long distance running and CrossFit don't usually go very well together. But I've been doing it for, how long has my son been on this earth? 6 years. So I'm a long distance runner that does CrossFit.
And I think that's amazing that you do both.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when you meet runners,
yeah,
what they do is run.
Yeah, so. Yeah. There's a different level and definition of cross training with each runner, and that's to their discretion. I mean, whatever works for them works for them. And I've had a lot of people in my lifetime that have told me, hey, what works, don't break what works, right? So, yeah. But it's what got me not only back to running, because I actually did 2 marathons, and I said, you know what, I'm done. Don't want to do it anymore, and so I ended up doing a Spartan race.
Yeah,
a couple years ago with my husband and a couple of our friends, and I don't know what was in the water and the mud, but I was covered in it from head to toe,
and it was glorious.
And it was glorious, and so I picked up CrossFit after that, and it's been kind of history ever since. Went back to running, and went and signed up for a half marathon in 2017, and met my goal of running a sub-2 up in Pittsburgh, and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to sign up for another marathon, and I did.
What does sub-2 mean?
So it's a sub-2 half marathon, so it would be any 13.1 miles under 2 hours.
Okay.
And it's extremely attainable. I think if you shouldn't say that. So it's attainable in a sense that, at least for me, because I did a lot more cross training that time around. And I did some running. I did some distance. I think the longest distance I did was like 10 miles while I was training. But a lot of what complemented me was my CrossFit.
Yeah.
So, so I decided to run another marathon, and with the goal of qualifying for Boston. And that unfortunately did not happen. My nutrition was not exactly the best at the time. I was just I was doing the best I could, but on race day my nutrition just did not. That's what I'm thinking of. Did not complement me well. So that's it was very very quick explanation as to what I've done and what I'm doing now. So now fast forward to this year. So my father-in-law was diagnosed with cancer a couple years back, and pancreatic cancer for that fact. And because I didn't qualify for Boston, I felt that maybe there was a reason for that. There was a reason why it didn't happen the way I expected it to. And in fact, I started to investigate because he actually beat pancreatic cancer.
That's awesome.
Very, very tough dude. Love him to death. But it was extremely hard on our family because he's a pretty big major part of that of us. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to investigate the idea of doing it for charity for Boston. And I had wrote down, after I ran Pittsburgh a couple years back when I was 28, that I would make it to Boston by the time I turned 30. So when it didn't happen qualifying wise, I said, okay, well, you know what? I want to pay it forward to the folks that paid us forward with supporting our family while we were, dealing with my father-in-law's cancer. So started a year ago. The process is very extensive and it's very hard. You go through multiple interviews, hours-long interviews. You do a lot of writing. You do a lot of talking to people. You go against boards. It's very much, in a sense, like the military when it comes to promotions and things of that nature, where you do a lot of writing and you kind of have to explain why you want to do this.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that have probably ruined it for some other folks in the past. That it's just has to be extensive for that reason. So when I first started talking to, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, back in like maybe early last year. I put my name in the hopper and I explained my situation and I explained what I wanted to do and pay it forward. And I got a call saying, hey, we want you on our team. Explain your situation, explain to us like what's going on with you and how your father-in-law is doing. And friends, of course, have also been diagnosed with the same issues. So did that. They said, great, sounds great. Be on the lookout for an application. Mm-hmm. So I applied, and then again was on the phone again, and again hours. And I work full time too, so doing this stuff after work or before work was
grueling.
Yeah, so I work a full 40-hour week, 45-hour week most weeks, and it was just, and I work and I live 2 hours away from where I work, so the commute was a lot. There was a lot of time in the car, which was kind of helpful, but at the same time, it got to a point where I said, all right, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So applied. Went up to Boston for a work trip and saw the finish line and was like, well, wow, this is real. Like, this is something that's legitimate. And sure enough, as soon as I got off the plane, I had a phone call from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society saying, hey, we want you on our team, but we put you on the wait list because your donation commitment isn't as high as some other folks, right? Mm-hmm. So the commitment for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society was $15,000 minimum, and if you chose $15,000, your chances of not being picked are pretty slim. Mm-hmm. So you have to find that sweet spot. So I had actually said I'm going to raise 17, so I figured that was a healthy number.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well that kind of sucks, but hey, it is what it is. And so from October to December, I was on the phone calling every week, asking, hey, have you heard anything? Have I come off the wait list, so on and so forth? And like, no, sorry, unfortunately, we haven't heard anything. And they said, but if somebody does fall off the wait list, we'll call you. So lo and behold, I thought, okay, well, should I train for this? Should I start fundraising for this? What should I do? Because if they call me, and there's only a certain amount of time that I have to raise this money, I'm going to be up against a wall. And so for me, do I want to put that kind of stress on my family? Do I want to put that stress on myself? So finally in December, I said, you know what, if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. So I let it go. January, I believe 3rd it was, I got a phone call from them saying, hey, we want you on our team. Do you think you can still manage to make that fundraising commitment? And I said, well, being that I have January, February, March, April, 4 months to raise $15,000, probably slim chance, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And they said, well, actually we have we have a sister foundation or charity called Active Against Cancer. Their fundraising minimum is $10,000. And I said, well, I don't want to steal that. If there's a person that is behind me that believes that they can raise that amount of money, let them have it. I'm not going to put myself through that stress. I mean, it's very difficult to fundraise. The entire experience has been life-changing and extremely fulfilling. And so I went with Active Against Cancer because I really liked their message about, the research behind physical fitness and how it benefits either cancer patients currently or in, after chemo and while they're in remission. It covers all cancers. It covers, the fact that it's explaining that, being physically fit is detrimental to keeping yourself as healthy as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, so I decided to go with Active Against Cancer, and so fast forward, I've been training for about 3 months now. It's been different, like I said, with the commute. It's very challenging. Most days, my day starts at like 3:45.
No, thank you.
I'm in the gym at 5 with my insane crew of people, and they're very special to me. They've carried me through a lot of this, and they've been my biggest cheerleaders. So along with my family. So when it comes to running and all that stuff, I've been just making it work with the schedule and so on and so forth. So Fast forward to now, I hit $11,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. And as of yesterday, very excited. I met our goal. We've done a lot of really amazing things with the fundraiser and a lot of really fun things. And a lot of people have come out of this with the, out of the woodwork to tell me, hey, I've had cancer. I'm in remission for X amount of years. And, it's surprising because there are so many people that come out of the woodwork to tell you these things that you would never in 1,000 years expect.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people have come to me and they said, I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing is incredible. If I wasn't in CrossFit or if I didn't run or if I didn't do this, I probably wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in now. So yeah, that's kind of my very quick story. But yeah, so I've got a pretty amazing support team. My gym, my family. I guess they're both the same, right? They are my family. They've been my family for the last 3 years, and of course my actual family, my husband, my son, my mom, my dad, my husband's family. They've just been. This has been probably one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my lifetime. Being that I'm 30 years old and I'm walking into a situation, 4 months beforehand, expecting to be raised, expected to raise a certain amount of money. I really did not think that I would be able to pull it off.
And it's so awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Very driven.
Yeah, it's, the thing is like I said, people who go through cancer or things of that nature, they have a desire to live too, right? So for me, it's like, well, if they have that same drive, then I feel like I should have that same drive to not only pay it forward to those that, help my father-in-law bounce back from very tough cancer that most people don't bounce back. Yeah. So that's kind of my driving force in that same vein is to be someone who is just as driven as they are to especially when they're told that they're you may not bounce back from this.
Yeah.
That to me is kind of one of those things that it's like, well, I didn't think I was going to bounce back from my last marathon. I was just, mentally I was just like, I'm just done. I'm done again. And every marathoner, every person who runs long distances, they'll tell you the second they cross that finish line at a marathon, they say, never again. I will never do that again. And about a month later, they're like, let me just sign up for this race. Let me just sign up for that race. And I don't. It's almost like we have a little bit of amnesia of some sort where I think it's the desire and that challenge every time that nothing is ever the same when it comes to races. So, the fact that I'm doing this and I've gotten such an amazing support team has been incredible.
Well, let's talk about marathon training then. So what it is that makes you keep going back to, first tell me why you started running in the first place.
Oh God, okay. So when I first started running, I just had my son, and I had gained about 75 pounds with him, and I'm about 5'6", so I was pushing 205. And I did not have the pleasure of losing the weight like that, and I was not able to breastfeed. So that was kind of another thing, and then also that kind of stemmed into postpartum. So I had a little bit of postpartum, and being that my husband's a police officer as well, the schedules was very difficult on me because I'd be getting up in the middle of the night and I had to go to work or so on and so forth. And so, I had to find some sort of outlet. And another friend of mine who started running said, was kind of suffering from the same thing, said, I picked up running and, I feel better, it's nice to just get outside, and it's really helping me kind of like, just find a different, level throughout this whole thing. And so I said, okay, and I talked to my mom, who's a both my parents are Ironman.
The Ironmen?
Ironmen. It is, I've actually been corrected a couple of times. It is Ironman. Which isn't fun. I'm not saying anything, they're different creatures. I love them to death. I've got a lot of friends that do it. I just think like a rock when I head into the pool. So so my mother, you know, at the time was just starting to get into this, and so she bought me my first pair of shoes. And so I remember exactly what they were. They were Newtons, and they were Lady Isaacs, and I still have them because they're like a memory for me. I refuse to get rid of them. It's just like those are the shoes that I did. You know, I did my first 5K and my first 10K and my first, you know, half marathon, my first marathon. So there's some sentimental value there. So started with a 5K. And I did a run or die, you know, the ones that you throw the colored. And it's a ton of fun. I would totally do one of those in a heartbeat, even if it was just to just do, right? It's just a ton of fun. So we went down to RFK, we did the 5K, and it was fun. And I remember I actually still had the picture. And I thought, man, I feel like a rock star, you know, 3 miles, yeah! You know, and, you know, when I was in high school, you know, you'd have to pay me like a large amount of money to run like a mile and a half. Like I would be like, you know, I'd be like, oh, my back, you're 12 years old. I don't care, my back.
Yeah, I took the 20-minute walking the mile. I took that in high school. I was like, no, fuck this, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, so.
But now I enjoy it sometimes.
Sometimes. So, yeah, so me too. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. So, with that being said, I kind of started with a 5K, and then it started with a 10K, and then it moved on to a half marathon, and then I did my first half marathon in 2013. I did Rock and Roll DC half, and I hated it. I hated it. It took me 3 hours. 3 hours and 9 minutes. I actually was just reminded of that like a year ago. I was like, ooh, that was tough. That was a tough one. And then probably about a month or 2 later, again, let me sign up for a marathon. Let me just, even though I hated the half, like the full won't be nearly as bad. Yeah, totally.
2 negatives equal a positive.
Right, exactly. So I did Marine Corps that same year, and that chewed me up and spit me out, man. I just was like, no way. And again, I thought in my mind, oh, I'm young. I don't have to train for it. I can just go out and willy-nilly it. I mean,
that sounds familiar.
I didn't train for it, but I didn't like train for it. I'm way more educated and wiser now that I'm older. Not only that, because I also want to get hurt, but I went out there and I winged it. And it was not a good plan. So I did it, and I was truly, you know, when you cross the finish line, your very first marathon, which my friend Dana is running New York City with me this year, her very first marathon. She's actually running for charity as well, for rare disorders, and I'm super excited for her because it's about time. You know, when you cross your very first marathon finish line, it's the feeling that you have is something that you cannot describe. It's like a holy shit, I just ran 26.2 miles on my feet, right?
It must be crazy.
I'm crazy. I hated that. That was miserable. My feet hurt, my back hurts, my head hurts, my hair hurts, my eyelids hurt, my nails hurt, everything hurts, right? And you know, it's just because you put so much work into it. And I felt like I cheated myself because I didn't, because I thought, oh, I'm young, I can do it. I can do this. It's not a big deal. 26 miles, I can do that in a car. Not the same. So I said, but I think I'm one and done, right? I think I'm one and done. I said, I think I'm one and done. It was cool. I got my medal. I wore my medal to work the very next day. I walked in. I was like, yeah, like Superman, right? So, but again, you know, also that was another reason. The reason why I picked Marine Corps was because I have a brother-in-law that's in the Marines. My father-in-law was in the Marines, and my husband was in the Marines. So it was like that was just like the obvious choice. Plus it was in DC. So, fast forward again, I did a couple more half marathons, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna put myself in for the lottery for Marine Corps again because I didn't get enough pain the first time. Fortunately for me, I got in. I have friends of mine who were sitting behind me, and I was like, as I'm putting my card number in, going, I don't know why I'm doing this right now.
I know better.
Click. Sell, right? You know, they're like, why are you doing this again? You hated it the first time. I'm like, I don't know what possessed me to do it again. So that year, did it again, thought the same thing.
You know, I just had a thought as I slid off camera. So what you said, you hated it the first time, but you're going to do it again. Isn't that human nature for just about anything, you think?
Yeah, you know, it's we are creatures of apparently we like pain.
Yes, we do.
We like pain in at least for me, I do, I guess. I don't know what it is. I can't exactly describe it. Like I said, it's just one of those things. It's a sense of accomplishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, you wake up the next day and you're like,
Yeah.
right? So, I don't know what it is. I can't exactly, again, you know, long distance running is something that you either love or you hate. Some days you love it, some days you hate it, right? There's no in between. So, signed up for it again, and I did it again. Again, said nope, never again. So it's like, you know, I don't know what possessed me. Like I said, I know, like earlier when we were talking, you know, I did the Spartan the following year, and CrossFit got me back into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge part of my life, huge, and it's very hard to understand, especially if you've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mental and it's physical and it's emotional healing. I can't tell you enough. Like, I've brought in, I think probably between 8 to 10 runners, long distance runners, into my gym because, you know, they've walked out of these races either hurt or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they want to do not necessarily better, but they just want to walk out of these things being like, oh man, that was awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So the physical healing that it does for your muscles are just beyond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did my last marathon last year, and probably within 3 or 4 days I was back in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was running and I was doing whatever we were supposed to be doing, and so it's just, that to me is just kind of a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
How do you prepare for, even if it's just, because you're going to go run 22 miles today, right?
Tomorrow.
So how are you preparing for this? It takes a while, so it's not like you're just going to wake up, oh, I plan on getting a good night's sleep, I'm going to go run 22 miles, right? It's more than that.
Yeah, well, you know, right now, I mean, I'm putting on a good front, but I was actually talking to my coach this morning, and I had explained to her that I'm a little nervous about it, because considering, you know, she, as she likes to say, she's flying me close to the sidewall. You know, it's getting a little warm just because, you know, it's nerve-wracking, right? But I've got a great group of girls that are going to join me tomorrow. Just for some of it, not all of it. But it's, I believe that after a certain distance, whatever that magical distance is for you as a person, for me, it's about 16, 17, your brain goes into autopilot.
Yeah.
So normally when I get ready for a long run, you know, I try to keep an eye on what I'm eating. I try to keep an eye on, like, my sleep, my walking, keep off my feet as much as I possibly can. Like tonight, we're celebrating our last open workout. So, you know, I'll be out there, you know, cheering people on, but I'm not working out today. There's a complete rest day. I got 8 hours of sleep last night. And we had cinnamon waffles, which is fine. They were delicious.
Just your carb loading.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's my justification. But I usually, you know, I set myself out the night before. But, you know, like I said, you do these things for so long. It just, like I said, you turn into autopilot. You set your stuff out. You set your stuff out the night before. You take your ibuprofen beforehand. You kind of eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that before you go, and then you just, it's about getting out there. They always say the first mile is the hardest, and it really is, because you're out there and you're like, you know, and it's, you know, we were teased, you know, a week ago with 70-degree weather. I was like, man,
it was beautiful.
And it's all mental. It is truly, when it starts to get into those double digits, it's mental.
Yeah.
Especially after 13. Like I said, 13 is the half, right? So when your schedule or your training schedule tells you you're running this amount of time, you know, 22 miles, I'm like, let me get my glasses. Let me make sure that's what that is.
See that right.
Let me make sure I see that as 2-2.
It just means 4. You're really running 4
right.
miles.
Well, you know, a lot of my friends are like, wait, 22 miles? Like, and a lot of them are CrossFitters, right? So if I said this to a long distance runner, they're like, that's cakewalk. But, you know, they make it fun. They make it funny. They make me laugh, because it's like, they look at me and they're like, you have got to get your head examined. Something is severely wrong with you. But yeah, I mean, it's very much mental when it gets into those really high double digits. It really does. And I think that's probably the biggest hurdle, is just getting over that mental, oh my God. You know, so.
Well, I feel that way because I'm not a runner, so I feel that way in general. Even when I wake up in the morning and I intend to run when I do run, I run like 3 miles at a time. And
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I remember those days.
Oh, you young chicken. You young chicken.
Oh, and I'll do it like 2 or 3 times a week, you know?
That's important. That's,
yeah.
I mean, you when you get the cardio in, it's important. And, I mean, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that goes a long way. I mean, most of my runs during the week, especially with just being so close to Boston, we started with, 3 to 4 miles, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then I would also do CrossFit on top of those days. So, and then I would do my long runs on the weekends. So, thank God for my coach, Liz. Oh my God, she's been my godsend. I love her. But she has definitely given me that like sense of, okay, I actually can do this, because again, it's very much mental when you get into that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So when you are you said that you eat a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So a lot of people have such reservations when they get into fitness, whether it's the CrossFit or running or even weightlifting, going to the gym and stuff, about I can't eat. I can no longer eat. I'm not allowed because I want to work out and I want muscles, so whatever. So as far as like nutrition, or not even nutrition, but we were talking before, you don't reduce your calories, you don't reduce your carbohydrates, because that is your source of fuel.
Right. So the best way I can describe it, and I meant to say this to you as well, is earlier you need to think to yourself, think of your body as an engine.
That is true.
If you think of your body as like a premium gas type of engine.
So you're like a supercar.
Right. Like you think of yourself as a Ferrari. What kind of gas do you put in a Ferrari? You don't put unleaded.
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about the Ferraris.
So you don't put unleaded in. You put premium in, right? So your body is an engine. If you eat crap, you're going to get crap, right? If you eat well, you will perform well. But you cannot place value on food. You cannot place a 3 mile, you can't place a cheeseburger and a thing of fries with a 5 mile run. You can, but you're gonna end up, it'll
show.
It'll show in not only in your performance, but it'll also show in the sense where you'll start to put values on your work. And no, you're fine. I got syrup on my shoes. That's a huge portion of just working out in general, or anything of that nature. My thing is don't tell yourself you can't have something all the time. Use discretion with that. I mean, the more you tell yourself no, the worse off it gets.
It's gonna feel worse and just restrictive and depressing.
Well,
you're not gonna want to continue to go that route.
Well, it's also hard, because if you have a family, like I'm sure, like you guys, like we were talking earlier, I have a 6-year-old. My husband, he eats well, but we also have our like, hey, let's just treat our bodies like fast moving dumpsters, as I like to call ourselves. And you have to do that every once in a while. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. You'll go absolutely crazy, because you'll never get to eat out. You'll never get to enjoy anything with your family. And it's like, we're getting into those summer months. So I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, oh, I gotta get into this like beach body thing. And it's like,
if you have a body, it belongs at the beach.
Right,
That's
exactly,
just how
right?
it is.
Exactly. Right, so at least I'm still trying to find the beach. I can't seem to get invited to that.
Well, we'll go to the beach together this summer. We'll go to Virginia Beach.
Perfect, sounds good. So, placing value on food is just something that I did for a while, and it worked. It worked to benefit me and my goal that I was trying to accomplish. But over time, it started to kind of really eat away at my ability to enjoy my family. Like, you have to sit there and measure everything, and stuff. Like I said, like we were talking earlier, like I will during the week I will measure and I will be more cognizant of what I'm eating, but at the same time on the weekends I'm gonna have a beer or two. Sorry, I'm just gonna do it. I know it'll suck, but if I'm running 16, 17, 22 miles, I think I'm gonna have a beer because my feet hurt.
And that'll make exactly. Because I know, like my husband loves to eat salad. He could eat a salad every damn day, and not me. I hate eating. I have to really be in the mood for somebody to be like, "Do you want to eat some lettuce?"
You know what I always say about that? That's just enough food to make me mad.
Yeah, exactly. Because we'll be at the dinner table, and I'll be like, oh, just damn it.
Yeah. So I always say, you know, I had a coworker of mine many years ago look at me and say, I don't know if you've ever seen Ocean's 11, but they said, you know, you kind of remind me of Brad Pitt. And I'm like, I'm not a dude, but I'll roll with it. Why? Every scene that Brad Pitt's in, he's eating.
Oh, yeah.
He's got food in each one hand. He's got food, and I'm like, that's me. I eat constantly, and it's not because, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm hungry, don't get me wrong, but it's like, if I don't eat, you know, I'm not very pleasant to be around, you know? So it's just, I do eat what you want.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
and because like we were talking about earlier about being so concerned about the value that other people place on who you are.
Yeah.
Because of the way that you look or the clothes that you wear or whatever it may be. And where the biggest value comes from, you know, believing in yourself.
Right.
So if you're comfortable, you know, then that's exactly where you need to be. Now, we are like fitness professionals. This is what we do, but you see we're not afraid of eating.
No.
So as somebody who
I actually do it for sport. It's my third sport is eating. It's long distance running, CrossFit, and food. Honestly. Honestly.
And I can appreciate that.
I do it for sport. It's cool.
I just want everybody to know that just because they want to work out or just because they want to run doesn't mean that they have to live some sort of like ugly, restrictive lifestyle.
No, it's not. That's not the way I believe. I mean, yeah, okay. Again, I've worked with nutritionists and they are outstanding, right? But there's also a part of that where it's a relationship. So, you know, if you hire somebody to help you in those goals, right? You're paying not only money to them, but it's on them to, you know, help you get what you need, which I definitely got, right? But I started to, and it's not their fault, it's my fault, and I take responsibility for that, is my head wasn't in it. My heart wasn't in it. If your head and your heart aren't in it, it's not going to happen.
It goes to hell.
It goes to hell in a handbasket. So with that being said, you know, it's like, for me, when it comes to eating, like, it's on me to make those decisions. I can lean on somebody as much as I want, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be standing behind me. Just, you know, they always say that I should have somebody behind me smacking food out of my hand. Somebody would be smacking food out of my hand every 10 minutes, and that would just make me mad.
And they just get punched in the throat.
Right, exactly. Give me my sandwich now. So, you know, it's on you. So I loved who I worked with. They were great people. They worked really hard with me, but at the same time, my head and my heart weren't in it. So therefore, I was just like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to waste your time, especially if there's somebody that can give you the same, that can, you know, reciprocate that same, you know, that same desire to do what they need to do or whatever.
Now, that's not to say, you know, if you feel like you are overweight and your goal is to lose, you know, 5 or 10 pounds, then yes, stop eating McDonald's. Okay, so that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that you just don't have to be afraid to eat it. You know, but there are ways that avenues, routes, different things that you can do to achieve different goals, but it's not a sustainable lifestyle to constantly be on a diet. And diet sucks.
When I talk about nutrition, I usually talk about it in a macro base. So, you know, in a macro sense, I should say. And, you know, it works well because, you know, people go with the, you know, I'm not going to name diets, but certain diets that may or may not actually work for their bodies. If you just eat within reason, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to eat what you want to eat, fine. But, I mean, again, like I said, your body is an engine. If you put crap in, you're going to get crap out.
Like, I just used to shovel pasta constantly. And it showed. And I had no energy.
Yeah.
So now, you know, sometimes I will eat the salad. And I perform better.
Right.
But.
Right, yeah. So it's just, you know, don't restrict yourself. I mean, restrict yourself in a sense where, you know, smaller portions, whatever, but don't restrict yourself with what you eat. Because it'll just drive you crazy.
And the extremism of it, I want to be extreme in how not extreme about certain things I am. So again, you have your whole 80-20 rule, you know, things like that. So as long as 80% of the time you're doing things in order to achieve your goal, then the other 20% of the time you can, you know, kick back on the couch and enjoy yourself a pizza and some Netflix and do whatever you want.
Yeah, definitely.
So with all that being said, I'm curious to know, like, what is your favorite, like, maybe running memories?
Oh God, I've gotten so many. Oh man.
And what constitutes something making it into, like, the memory bank? Okay, so, like, when something goes, like, completely wrong or completely, you know, fantastic, we store it away, but I'm curious, is there something that might have happened on the trail, whether it was in a marathon or in training, that was just like, this is going to stick with me forever?
Well, you know, so obviously my first 5K, because I ran it with my mom, I have a pretty vivid memory of that, which was a lot of fun. Obviously my first half, it'll always be your first, right? Your first 5, your first 10, your first, you know, half marathon. It'll be all those, but I think the most, like the one that sticks in my mind the most has got to be this. Honestly, I mean, it's not. I've had such Boston,
okay.
Yeah.
Not this.
Not this. No, well, this too, because this is part of it. But at the same time, this is probably, like, again, like I said, this has probably been one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. My training has been exceptional. I mean, it's just been outstanding. I feel probably better than I ever have in a very long time. I'm very comfortable in what I'm doing. And I have a lot that has hats off to my coaches, Jason and Liz. They've kept me going in one piece in such a short amount of time. And just the fundraising part of it has been just so much fun. Seeing the amount of community that has come out to support me and my efforts, and just, it's been out of control. So, like, even though I haven't run it yet, I know that when I cross that finish line, my best friend's gonna be there, my mom's gonna be there, my dad's gonna be there, and I know, like, I just know it's gonna happen. I've done it enough I've done enough of this. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do this to know that I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
So it's getting to that finish line, right? It's getting to that time. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, it's not like I'm not ready to go in a sense like I'm ready to run 26.2 miles tomorrow, but I'm ready to go meet and match my goal that I wrote down 2 years ago.
Yeah. When is the Boston?
It is Tax Day, so April 15th, or as we like to call it, Patriots Day, which is technically still it is the law to pay your taxes. Anyways, so it's a Monday. It's a couple weeks from now. We're 23 days out.
Yeah, today's the 22nd.
Yeah, so we're looking at 23 days before it shows up. So my family and I were gonna head up that weekend, that Saturday, and gonna do the damn thing and move on. So I'm doing like I said, another memory that hasn't even occurred yet, is being able to run my 5th marathon with one of my very good friends, Dana. She's running her very first marathon in November with me. She's doing New York City. So I'm pretty excited. I'm doing 2 big cities in a year, which is pretty exciting. Neither which I've done, obviously. Been to both, but never ran both. So running it is different than walking it or being there or visiting. So yeah.
What is the way, like, how do you recover from a long run? So I like to take Epsom salt baths. That's what I do.
I lay on the floor and let my dog lay all over me. Pretty much that's reality. So my best friend is my physical therapist and my chiro. So, I'll tell her, oh, this hurts. So I usually I'll roll out and I'll do a little crosswalk on my feet. And, we bought a house that doesn't have a tub in the bathroom. So I just sit in the shower, just try to collect myself. But yeah, no, I try to do the, ibuprofen. I kind of try to be proactive in that stuff. So like when I'm, especially because I'm doing such a close to the sun type of training, I try to be proactive and I take, a couple ibuprofen before I go. And then if I'm feeling kind of crummy after or the next day, I'll do the rolling and the ibuprofen again. But I mean, we don't have a bathtub. My son has it, but I don't want to wake him up in the middle of the night and just lay in there and fall asleep. So and again, like a lot of the time I will walk out of these long distance runs and I'll be back in the gym 2 days later.
Yeah.
But now granted, like I said, everything that we do is very scalable. So when you walk into this gym and you do what you do it at your rate. You don't do it at the prescribed weight. You do it at what you can, because obviously it's more important to be 100% at your whatever you're trying to accomplish than to be at 50% because you wanted to do RX or you wanted to do this or do that. So it's about balancing. It's about balancing that effort.
Yeah.
So like for instance, today I am not working out at all because I have 22 miles to run tomorrow. So it's about balancing that. And it's like, what's priority? Is your priority to do this workout at RX and then the next day feel like crap while you're trying to accomplish what you're really supposed to be doing? Or do you back off and you tell yourself, probably should take a rest day because it's more important that I get this done than to be, in bad shape the next day. Right. So.
And it's also pretty hard to do anything after a leg day. Period.
Yeah. So I went and did I went and did yoga yesterday with a friend of mine, and I woke up this morning and I was like, why did my abs hurt? Oh, I did yoga yesterday. And I knew that today was the workout was gonna be leg intensive, so I said, no, thank you. I need my legs. So yeah, so it's about making sure that you rest when your body needs rest. It's important. In fact, we were just discussing this with my coach this morning. I told her, I said, do you want me to still run today? She's like, no. No, you're doing 22 tomorrow. You have nothing to prove. I'm like, yeah, I know. So.
Now, do you collect miles when you're not training?
What do you mean?
So, like, I know a lot of runners who will count up their miles and like list them monthly. So, like, oh,
no,
I ran this
I used to do that. No, I used to do that, and it became one of those things where it took the fun from it. I used to be like, man, I ran 85 miles this month. That's awesome. Granted, I'm not sitting here saying that that's if that's what your priorities are, and if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. I'm not judging you, but to me it's just like I have too much on my plate to worry about any of that, right? And I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm not judging, but that's just not something that I necessarily care about.
Yeah, it's just like I'm not in the gym for 2 hours, 5 and 6 days a week. Yeah, because while that's what I used to try to do. It's just not that important anymore. So now I go to the gym like 4 days a week. Yeah. And I'm usually there for like an hour at a time. Yeah. Not counting how long I like to sit in the sauna for.
Hey, if I had a sauna, I'd sit in it all the time because I'm so tired of this cold. It's not even funny.
I have to sit in the sauna just to thaw my bones because I lived in the South for the last 5 years in Charleston. Okay. And so now being up here where it's frigid. I mean, I'm from upstate New York, so I'm a little ashamed that I'm as cold as I am.
Yeah, that's like, isn't that like a rite of passage? Like y'all are like born with some sort of like, shield of armor under your skin where you're
flip-flops in 40-degree weather.
Yeah, like you're getting soft.
I am. It's my old age.
It's the old bones I have. That's what it is.
They're just old and brittle. And
well, hey, I get you on that. I feel that too every day.
So if you have any tips, or do you have any tips for somebody who might be starting to be curious about creating like a running routine or anything like that?
Yep. My advice is to be patient with yourself.
That's perfect.
Be patient with yourself because it's a process. My very good friend, and again, like I said, my coach Jason, one of the very first things he told me is it takes 5 weeks to begin, like to get into a routine.
Mm-hmm.
If you stick to that plan in 5 weeks, it'll become part of your routine. Because the hardest part is the routine, right? It's getting into the getting up early or getting up or just, getting it in or fitting it in. And I get it. We work our asses off. I mean, there are people that work 10-hour days and they'll go in the gym and be in there for 2 hours or go out and run, 10 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And, they work, all sorts of occupations. And it's about being patient with that process.
Mm-hmm.
And getting into a routine. And that is probably the biggest tip I could give is just to be patient with yourself and trust the process.
And to know that you're not going to love it all the time.
No.
So I hate the idea of running.
Well, it's extremely difficult when it's cold outside, right? I mean, now granted it's very difficult when it's hot outside, right? So us runners, we check the dew points and we check the humidity, we check the weather. I mean, it's a science, right? So if I look outside and I'm like, ooh, it's raining, I'm like, maybe I'll just pass. But at the same time, it's, you've got to, even though you pass that day, don't pass the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Unless you're snowed in your house, you're ice in your house, there's no excuse as to why you can't be either in the gym running or work out or be there or whatever the case may be. Again, like I said, my day starts at 3:45 every day. And I work full time. I run, I work, I get home, I make dinner, I take care of my son, rinse and repeat, 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy, but once you get into that routine, it
makes it a lot easier.
Oh, the sun,
the sun came out. It makes it a lot easier to accomplish these things once you have that routine down. But it's also important to know that you're not going to love it every day, but you should continue to do it anyway.
Right.
So like I said, I hate the idea of running, but as soon as I'm out there, as soon as I'm actually doing it, I feel like, I can fly. I just feel like that adrenaline kicks in, and I love it so much, and I feel great for the rest of the day, But to actually lace up my shoes and get out there, it's like pulling teeth.
Secret time. We all hate it. I mean, there are days, like I said, there are days when you will love it, and there are days when you'll hate it. I mean, the first, it's so funny when I see that shirt or I see it on somebody or something. The first mile is always a liar.
Yep.
First mile is always the hardest. And the way I approach all of my long distance runs are just like I would a chipper in a CrossFit workout. 22, 21, 20, 19, and so on and so forth. You just chip away at it until it's done. And that's another thing that people ask me all the time is, how do you avoid hitting that wall? And again, I think there is a physical part to it, but I also think it's very mental. It's the mental fortitude that gets you through that wall. Because it's like you'll hit it and it'll hit you and you won't even know it. I mean, I've hit it once or twice and it is like you're like, what the heck just happened? And like I said, that's when your head has to go off and do the autopilot.
Yep.
Because your head starts to tell you, oh, you can't do this. Your feet are starting to hurt. It just kind of turns into this like downward spiral, and it's you gotta break through that wall and that threshold of uncomfortable. Not everything is going to be comfortable. If you're comfortable doing what you're doing and it's not challenging, you're not challenging
different.
You not even necessarily do something different, but if it's not challenging enough for you, or if it's not pushing that threshold, then maybe it's time to turn on the gas, right? Because let's be real here, the faster you run, the faster it gets over with. So it's a matter of breaking through that wall and that mental fortitude to get it done. You know, I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I've got hats off to my CrossFit, because that's a lot of the stuff that we do has a lot to do with mental fortitude. Because you walk into some of these workouts and you're like, oh my God, you know, like I just feel like, I mean, it was like 20 minutes of work, but I feel like I just got hit by a train both ways. And it's the same with marathon training. It's the same thing, but it's a longer time. It's it's obviously distance and time versus, 20 minutes of, really tough stuff, but it's got a lot to do with that, that mental fortitude. It has a lot to do with that.
Now, do you listen to music when you're running, and do you find that helps to kind of break through that?
Well, no, I think, so I've done a little bit of sciencing. I don't do science. But I have figured out that, there is some science to what you listen to. Because I was listening to, your Drake and your hip hop and all that stuff. Because that's what we work out to, that like stuff that gets your blood pumping, right?
Yeah.
But I did some experimenting a couple weeks ago, and I was running inside because it was pouring down rain, and I started on Spotify. It's a channel called Songs You Sing in the Shower.
Oh.
And it was like Spice Girls and Elton John and like just these awesome songs, like awesome song after awesome song after awesome song. And it made the time just go, it just blew by. So it's, when I was listening to the hip hop stuff, like I felt like my heart was, and it's like if you listen to stuff that's kind of like easygoing, like what do they call it, yacht club type music. It seems to kind of like maybe just like
like a trance.
Exactly. You just kind of turn on to like, I'm listening to the Spice Girls. I remember I was like 7 when I heard this song. Like you start thinking about those things, right? And it's just. It's what,
brings you places.
Yeah, it brings you places, and it also doesn't do that whole like make your heart go faster and make you want to go faster. Now, again, if you're at a gym and you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But if you're running, whatever works.
Yeah.
Right. I can't prescribe what works for me to somebody else that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, like for example, I don't listen to music when I run.
Okay.
I'm not really a big music person. I listen to other podcasts.
Okay. I've heard that too. Yeah.
And so there's this one podcast called Stuff You Should Know, and it's just like they'll take an hour to talk about like the most random shit. Like one time I learned how to shrink a head. One time I listened about Amelia Earhart and what happened to her. So like different like random things like that, and about how your toilet seat is probably one of the cleanest places in your house and your floor is the dirtiest. So the 5-second rule is actually what that one was called. So if you're gonna eat something off the floor, you might as well eat it off the toilet seat because it's cleaner. So but like these are the things, because then my mind is thinking about all like that stuff and like putting that stuff together, rather than what my feet are doing.
Yeah, no, not. I would probably, we have a bad habit of us runners, we have a bad habit of like, once we hit a certain, like that first mile, we're not very chatty. Third mile, we start to kind of like look at each other and like talk to each other, and then, by like 10, 13, we start being real chatty, and then it goes back downhill, after that, and then, you start not talking and wanting to kick each other. In fact, like me, I actually, I throw these awesome hissy fits. Awesome hissy fits. I'm known for the epic hissy fits. So, funny story. If you want to talk about memories, I have 2 girlfriends that are, God bless them, they're very patient with me, but when it gets hot, I don't really want to run. I don't want to be outside. I don't want to do anything like that. And they like to call, those like, Snickers commercials?
Yeah.
Where the person looks like, like a normal person, and then the celebrity's there, and it's like somebody that's completely off the wall and wouldn't even match them. Well, my character is Danny DeVito. So when I have my little hissy fits, I was having a moment, and I was, not exactly very happy. I have very long, thick hair at the time, and I just stopped running, and I threw a hissy fit, and I kicked the stop sign. And they just stood there, and they were like, all right, they're just gonna like, we're just gonna wait for her to, I mean, and they have kids too, so they know. They're like, all right, I'm gonna let her do her thing. I'm gonna let her do her thing, and then we're gonna go back to doing it. And I did my little hissy fit, and then I moved on. But yeah, I mean, those days happen, though. I mean, those days, those runs will happen where you just want to stop and kick a stop sign, and I've done it. Didn't kick it hard. I didn't do anything wrong. Like, it wasn't like, you know, I was vandalized. There was no vandalizing. It was more like my foot hurt for a split second, and then I moved on. So that was okay. But yeah.
So would you say that running is like how you self-care then? Just a couple of things that you've said sounds to me like that's how you fill your cup.
Yeah, it is. It's very much so that way. But it also there's something very healing in respect of getting outside by yourself, and just either by yourself or with friends, right? You know, the moms that I run with, or the girls that I run with, they're moms, they're working moms, they're wives to, whoever, they work full time, whatever the case may be, and it's just kind of like our time to be like, and it's just, it's very healing in that respect. I mean, like I said, there'll be, like the day I had a hissy fit, I think there was something going on, and I just blew up.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, kicked the stop sign, and then I was all right. But yeah, I mean, there's some healing in that respect, I think. Like I said the other day on Facebook, when you get up and you show up for these things, whether it be at the gym or for a run, it's the best part of your day.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, in fact, the other day, I had finally gotten we had some car issues, with our family, and my husband-in-law, his transmission died. So I had to take our kid to school every day, for like a week and a half, which is extremely challenging because if I leave anything after 6 o'clock, I'm sitting in 2 hours of traffic, guaranteed. So this past Wednesday, I finally got to get up and go to the gym, and I was excited. Believe it or not, I was excited to get up at 3:40 in the morning and be like, oh, I get to go see my friends. But it's like the best part of your day is that either that time that you get, to do self-care.
Yeah.
Or see your friends, and family, I guess I should call them more so. But I walked into the gym, and of course, my goofy self, the door just slams, and I'm the last person in there, and I'm late. And I turn around, and I'm just kind of like, I've been here the whole time. Like, this is fine. And then, seeing, we were doing a warm-up, and my girlfriend and I, we had these bands on our legs, and we decided we were going to start dancing. So it was just like things like that wake you up in the morning, and those memories that I have stick in my mind.
Yeah.
So that's how I also believe that it's self-care, is being with the people that you love, that make you better, right? I mean, your family makes you, your family 100%, my husband and my son and my parents and his parents make me better every day. And those people just make me even better.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And because, self-care looks so different for everybody. And it doesn't have to look the same every single day. It could be something different.
Yep.
And so that's really awesome. So use that. You take that and do something for yourself, whether it's running or CrossFit or weightlifting or a yoga class or body pump, or it could be anything. Join your local gym.
Yep.
It's expensive, or it doesn't have to be, but it can be expensive, but it's worth it.
Well, the thing that you have to think about when it comes to being expenses, right, is what's the expense against your health?
Yeah, it's got to be a priority.
Right? So, for an average CrossFit gym, it's probably $175 to $200. But if you separate that out over 30 days, it's something around $10 a day. What's the price on your health, right? $10. You pay $10 when you go to a restaurant, you order lunch, right?
Or Starbucks in the morning.
Exactly. That stuff starts to add up. So, over time, you have to really think about, the expense of your health.
Yep.
And make that a priority. And running costs maybe $100 for shoes, some decent clothes, right? But it doesn't, there's no value, like we were talking about earlier, there's no value on your health. There's no specific value to your health.
There isn't. And I think that everybody needs to put that page in their book. And I feel like the world would be a better place for it.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it doesn't have to be fitness. It could be something else. If your self-care is going to get your hair done, go get your hair done. You know, or whatever it may be. Eating the cupcake.
I'm gonna eat the cupcake.
Yeah. I bought little Debbie's snack, like the Easter snack cakes.
Girl, I told you earlier, man. I'm powered by Thin Mints, bro. I'm telling you.
I should have brought them with me. We could have.
I'm telling you, I would have totally done it. I mean, it's like I said. You know, I make a running. There's literally a running joke, no pun intended. Is this training session? I've actually. I called them my dealers, my Girl Scout cookies. I told my girlfriend the other day, I said, I'm down to 4 Thin Mints, and I don't think they're selling cookies anymore. And so luckily,
I might have a box for you.
See, a lot of people are just gifting these things to me at this point because they feel sorry for me. But my girlfriend, you know, brought me some cookies yesterday, and she's like, these are on the house. It's like awesome. So it's you know, like I said, you eat what you want, do what you want.
Just be happy.
Be happy, be healthy. You know, be smart about your choices, obviously, but at the end of the day, you know, your health has no value when it comes to monetary or that, you know, it's just, yeah.
And I think that's just so perfect because life's too short, you know, don't be uptight. You got like type A personalities like me. I'm super type A, so I tend to be very wound pretty tightly.
I am too.
I really just feel like that's why I do what I do because it helps me to relax and enjoy myself.
Yep, you will notice that if I don't get a run in or if I don't work out,
I'm not a very nice person that day. Like today's my rest day. So because we were planning on meeting at noon yesterday, so I was like, okay, well I'm gonna work out and then I'll go and I'll probably meet her in my workout clothes, which whatever, no big deal. And then we're meeting at 10 o'clock.
I know. I'm sorry. Welcome to my world. You know, the last couple of months has been kind of nutty. You know, people have just kind of molded and shaped, unfortunately. And this isn't normally how I am, but I'm just like, hey, so I can't make it today. Hey, so can we meet at 10 versus 12? Can we meet at 12 versus 10? I'm just all over the
Well, no, that's good because today was supposed to be my rest day. And I wasn't going to, I was going to go to the gym anyway. So we'll just do a yoga class maybe tomorrow and...
that's what I'm going to be doing in my mind. I'm going to be in yoga. I'm going to be in yoga the whole time.
Channel your inner yogi.
Exactly.
Oh, try the Beatles on your playlist.
All right. See, I'm all for it. I'm all for everything.
I play the Beatles in my yoga classes. I know a lot of my students get really tired of listening. I mean, is that even a thing? I'm not sure because the Beatles are just so great.
Yeah.
But the Beatles make me happy. Yoga makes me happy. So it just kind of goes together. Yeah. So find that mesh that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I mean, I've been always in music. I've been always, you know, into music, but it just depends on what kind of workout you're doing. Yeah. And I really came to grips with that within the last couple weeks, and I've been doing this for 6 years. And I'm like, whoa, why didn't I start this a long time ago? Yeah. So, hey, you live and you learn. Every day is there's a learning curve with running, CrossFit, any of that stuff. There's a learning curve with all of it. So. And you'll be better for it every day. Every day. All right, so I think this is a perfect place to end. And I want to say that if anybody wants to get a hold of you to either talk about maybe some like advice for running, questions about marathon running, or even maybe to get a hold of you for the Active Against Cancer. Yeah, absolutely. If somebody might want to reach out to you for that. So all of your information, anything that you want, ways for people to contact you, I'll put that all in like description. Sure. The description box, and like the taglines and stuff for. Yeah. So the only thing I'll say is I don't claim to be an expert on any of this stuff. I can guide you to where I think, you know, I can help guide you in a sense where, you know, finding out where your goals are and maybe, you know, get you to the right people to take care of these things. Yeah. I would say not a doctor. Not a doctor, not a coach, not any of that. I'm just somebody who likes to run and likes to shove people into uncomfortable positions like running and CrossFit. Yes. But I know good places. Yeah, so that's why I like that we're connecting people who might not know where to start, giving people that starting point, and I feel like that's really important.
All right, awesome. So thank you for coming on the
thank
show.
you.
It's tons of fun.
Yep.
And
oh my God.
we'll do this again, I'm sure. You know what? Why don't you come on and maybe after Boston and you can tell us about Boston. I think it'd be awesome.
I can tell you right now that it's gonna be. I told my mom the other day. I said this may be for real my last marathon. For real. And then my girlfriend overheard me say that. And she was like, "The hell, it's not. I signed up for New York." And I'm like, "Oh, maybe it'll be New York will be my last one." I was just kidding. So just see how you'd react.
And maybe I'll collect a couple of miles and one day we'll run together.
All right, sounds good. I can do 6.
Yeah. I was saying because the 6 was the most miles that I've ever run at once, but that was an obstacle course, so I didn't run it all at one time.
Ooh, yeah, that's a different. Now your story's changing. Your story's changing now. Got it. All right.
Yeah. But I mean, you ran the obstacle course, so you.
I did. Yeah, I did.
And okay, let me change it one more time. I have to be completely honest.
Okay.
I ran my Spartan race in 2015.
Okay.
Before we hit the first mile, I hit a pothole.
Ooh.
I ran with my husband. I hit a pothole. And because I wasn't a runner, I didn't know, I never had run outside on trails and stuff like that before, so I wasn't really paying too much. I was just excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be badass today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my heel hit a pothole, got a stitch on my side, couldn't run. I was like, I didn't even hit my first obstacle yet.
Oh no!
My husband picked me up and carried me the entire way.
Man, God bless him. My husband would have been like, yeah, no, he would have done the same thing, but no,
No, I did all my obstacles, but I couldn't run after that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know somebody. Maybe I know a few people that like to run. Maybe I can talk you into it.
Yeah, I mean, another woman invited me to go running with her, but she said 5:15 a.m.
I was gonna say that's halfway through my day. I don't know what you're talking about. I was like 5:15. What?
Yeah, and I get up at 5 o'clock anyway to get the kids ready for school and whatnot.
Right.
But as far as it's like I don't know if I'm gonna go running.
Dude, I'm not.
And it was like 30 degrees out too.
Welcome to my world for the last 4 years now.
When it warms up a little, we'll do the 6 miles when it warms up a little.
Famous last words.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Serena, for doing all